Hi, and welcome to Marketing Optimization with Alex Designs. I am your host, Alex Harris, and today we are talking to Conversion Factory Senior Consultant, David Gowans. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Awesome. Conversion Factory is an award-winning conversion optimization agency. They focus on personal, results-focused approach to conversion rate optimization. To get started, I'd like to ask, what is your definition of optimization, and why is it beneficial?
Well, optimization in general is really improving the site, taking the number of people who are coming onto it, and then making more of them customers. In essence, it's doing a sort of traditional sales job online and trying to find better ways to do that. So, personally, for me, I find the main way to approach it is to try and find those reasons that people aren't buying, and then overcome those problems. Because quite often people will be coming onto a site, maybe you're not pitching them to them in the right way, or maybe they're just not getting the right sort of information, and they just go and leave. You've only got a few seconds to convince them. So it's really ways of finding out why people aren't converting, and then looking for solutions to those.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Conversion Factory and how you guys got started.
So it was actually started about 7 years ago by Stephen Pavlovich, who's been in the industry for a long time and has worked with a number of different clients. And I actually joined about a year ago, employee number 3, and that was I had a background before working for one of the big optimization providers. So I'd got into that from the technical side, and then moved over to the actual consultancy because it just seemed like the right way to do things. Actually using data to back up your decisions rather than just stabbing in the dark. So I had a lot of experience working with sort of big companies across Europe, and joined together with Stephen, and the company's going from strength to strength. So we've now sort of expanded sort of 3 or 4 times over in the last year, and hopefully getting better and better from there.
Yeah, well, as I found your content through another site, and I really enjoyed the content that I found so far. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Conversion Factory has to offer. Do you guys have a certain framework that you follow for clients to figure out the right way to improve their site for conversion or start testing? What framework do you guys use?
Yes, so our approach is really to understand what we call the barriers to conversion. So as I was mentioning, it's the things that stop people from coming onto the site from converting. So we start off every project with what we call the insights phase. So the idea there is we spend usually around a month looking at the site, looking at the business, and really trying to understand that. The idea being that we need to understand the business and the clients as well as or better than the people we're working with. So that takes all sorts of different approaches. So we'll work with people, asking them questions about how their business works and understanding that, and then we get into the really interesting bit, which is talking to the customers. So whether that's doing surveys on the site, on thank you pages, whether that's actually going into shops and, if they've got physical premises, going in there and talking to the people there, finding out how they sell. And then also just looking at the traditional things you would look at for any sort of analytic approach to a site. So, looking at Google Analytics, where are people dropping out? Where are those issues coming from? And, that obviously generates a huge amount of data. A lot of information, and what we then try to do is take that and turn that into more useful form, which is really identifying, as I say, those barriers to conversion. So at the end of that process, we usually come out with 3, maybe 5 top barriers, the 5 reasons that people don't convert, and then we go and find solutions. So whether those are simple things, it could be that people just aren't clear about delivery methods, for example. So we'll make sure we get those on the page. It might be that the pricing is worrying to people, so we need to use maybe things like pricing psychology or traditional sort of user experience things. So it's then finding all those solutions and then as all as all good optimizers should, we then get them and test them and make sure that they really are the things that change, because you can always be surprised even if you have a lot of research backing up what you're doing.
Yeah. So as you've gone through all these different clients over the years you've been there, have you found some best tips, some consistency for the average user to try on their own site? What have you seen that really has pushed the needle up to beat the control?
There's been a lot of things, and it's very difficult when you're talking about necessarily having best practices and things like that, because what works for one site may not work for another. But really thinking, the main thing that I've found that works is to think about what people's motivations are to be on the site, and then to try and address them. So it could be as simple as just changing the headline or changing a list of features into a list of benefits, but they're usually quite small things. Of course, there are always classic ones that you can try, things like just making sure people are aware of the company. A lot of especially e-commerce sites, you go on there and they just assume you know who they are, or you know that they're great, and something like a benefit bar or something as simple as that across all your pages can just be a really easy starting point. Sell the benefits of your company, whether whether it's free returns or your great customer service or something like that, but really selling that to people, and it just gives them that instant sort of level of trust and level of understanding of your company that means they can then go and buy from you with full confidence.
Yeah, I think too many people who are used to developing normal websites, they focus on the features way more than the benefits. And that's a classic case of not persuading people correctly. So let's take a look. I know you brought some examples. Let's take a look at some of those examples that you brought.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can check out the samples through the video on marketingoptimization.tv.
Okay, so this project was one for a college, US-based college, which is always an interesting one for us from the UK, looking at sort of a different marketplace. To education in the UK. So this was great because we came at this with a blank slate. We didn't have sort of any preconceptions about how people felt. So when you're looking at the original homepage, it's traditionally a big place for a lot of politics on a site. Everyone wants everything on the homepage. Everyone wants their particular thing to be pushed. And, it's obviously becomes a place where any changes are quite difficult to make. So what we wanted to do is really understand, when students came to this college, or prospective students, what sort of things were they looking for? Was it what the college was trying to push, things about the relevancy of degrees and things like that. So what we were trying to do was really understand that. So we did a lot of surveys, user testing, asking people who had asked for program information, which this is a lead generation site. We want people to give their information, and then we can give them a call. But once people had given that information, we said to them, what was the big thing that almost stopped you from signing up today? And that was really insightful, because people started coming up with all sorts of things that that we wouldn't have even thought of, things that they just wanted to see on the site. So we were doing optimization across the whole site, and we built up some positive results, which luckily gave us the buy-in from the in-house teams to actually test the homepage. And if you actually have a look at the updated version, as you can see, it was quite a significant change. We tried to really look at why people might trust the college with their education. And if you've studied sort of marketing and persuasion techniques, you'll see all sorts of things on there, sort of social proof and things like 15,000 students like the college, why should you? But really what we tried to do is find those key features that people wanted. So things like the fact that the tuition was a great price, it wasn't going to increase. Things like the fact that they were actually placing people in careers, and that turned out to be very, very important to people. They were coming on and saying, this looked like a good degree, but what's the outcome of that? And what we did was sort of completely rework this, that it actually did a sort of a traditional sales job on the homepage rather than being sort of that central place that just pushes the latest information. It really tried to give people that opportunity to understand the college when they just dropped onto the page and sort of didn't know anything at all about it. So it sort of got across those key points. And this was fantastically successful. It was we tested this and got a double-digit increase in the conversion, and that was a big result for them, because at the moment there's a lot of problems in the US education industry. There's falling admissions rates, and they actually managed to go against that trend and increase theirs through the optimization work and other things they've been doing. So it was a great example where doing that research and understanding really what the students or the prospective students felt, we were able to come up with this new page that hopefully and was proven to really appeal to them in a big way.
Yeah, this is a really good example. First of all, it's really nicely designed on the control versus the test, but I think there's a lot of changes visually. I love how you talked about the persuasion, and I'm talking about the design. You obviously have a better copywriting background than my design background, but visually, you're limiting the call to actions. That's the number one thing that I see there, compared to the control, where your eye really, you're just not really sure what to click on. There's so many different things, and that reinforced with the clear headline, you're really creating direct relevance. Earn your degree to achieve what you want, and giving them a solution in return with those call to actions, and then just opening up the whole page to those individual categories. It really leads your eye down the page a lot better than the control, which was all over the place. You're really not sure where to look.
Yeah, absolutely. And commenting on the design, we had great support with the internal team who came up with we wireframed and put together the copy, and they came up with this fantastic clean looking design, which is great. And like you say, it's very much trying to guide people in the way we wanted them to, giving them that opportunity to learn a little bit about the college, but making it very clear there's somewhere we want you to go, and finishing up the page with a form. They probably won't be convinced by that point, but if they are, let's get their information then and give them the opportunity to convert. And otherwise, as you say, it was a very clear route into looking at the degrees and where the next step was.
That's a really great example. I appreciate you showing us that. As some takeaways, are there any clear ideas that you would take this even further, to test even further, to really take your business to the next level? What would be the next step after you've have a new page? How would you optimize this even further?
This is luckily something we are actually doing. We never rest with the optimization. I mean, it can be very difficult when you've got a big winner to actually convince people to change it again. And we were lucky enough that by doing some more work, we went through a variety of headlines and areas at the top of the page to find the next part. So, I mean, one of the things that I always look at is the fact that people get quite hung up on the size of changes, whereas it's more sort of the change in the user's mindset that you want to look at. So my advice, once you've got a page like this, and is actually what we ended up doing, was try different aspects of that. So we looked at headlines, which, traditionally it's not a very big part of the page to change, and people often don't think they make that much difference when in fact they do. And what we tried to do was find sort of 3 very different headlines, 3 different ideas, and put them across, so that, one was around generating interest in the page, one was generating referring to money and how much more you could earn with your degree, and one was talking about the outcomes, the what you can do next. So it's very much trying to look at the different mindsets of the user, and for a homepage that's very hard to appeal to everyone. So it's finding which is, I guess, the most appealing version. So when you're doing something like this, and to take it to the next step, first of all, try and do a page or a smaller test that focuses on what the users want and the user's benefits, and then and then try and take that to the next step by pushing it a little bit further with trying to target that even more to a specific benefit or to a specific sort of technique for optimizing. And don't be afraid to use sort of the classic advertising and sales techniques. We read a lot of sort of long form ads, sales letters, watch infomercials, that sort of thing, because they're the sort of people who, even more so than a website, if they don't generate the sales, that it's money wasted. So they're very good at doing the sometimes hard sell, but is actually converting people who might not even be interested in the product.
Yeah, if you're not optimizing and continuously trying to grow, you're definitely probably leaving money on the table. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. I really appreciate it. Let's conclude by telling people how they can find out about you and learn about Conversion Factory.
Yeah, well, certainly come onto our website, conversionfactory.com. Feel free to get in touch with us if you've got any questions or if you are interested in discussing how we can work together. And you'll often see myself or Stephen at conferences both in Europe and over in the US. So keep an eye out for us, because we're always talking and always happy to chat to people who are interested in optimization.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for being on the show.
That's great. Thank you very much.